Alrighty, welcome everyone to the Virtual College Exploration Program in partnership with Cachet. This is the Rochester Institute of Technology information session. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to kick us off with some housekeeping items before I pass it over to the presenters. First, there's more sessions available through tomorrow evening with Cachet, so we'd love to see you participate in more sessions if you're interested in connecting with other colleges and universities as well. When you do register for these sessions, you do get a barcode in that confirmation email, but know that that barcode is not necessary for any of the virtual events that you participate in. And we are recording all of these sessions and posting them to our website shortly after the session concludes. So whether you want to rewatch a session you participated in or watch one you may have missed, just check back on our website for that on-demand setting. And then you'll notice that you'll see the RIT team and hear them. They can't see or hear you. This is webinar style format. So any questions you have throughout the presentation, feel free to click that Q&A box and type those questions in there, and the presenters will do their best to address those throughout the session. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Mariah to get us started. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jen. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So welcome everyone. We'd like to thank you for joining us, and we are grateful for the opportunity to connect with you virtually. My name is Mariah McLean-Giardino. I am Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions here at Rochester Institute of Technology, or RIT. So I'm here today with my colleague, Mark Munzer, Senior Associate Director of Undergraduate Admissions and alumnus of RIT. And also two current student ambassadors will be joining us, Colette and Dylan, and they were also going to be speaking about their experiences at RIT. So together, we all hope to provide you with helpful information about RIT as you begin your college search process. So to begin, we'll get started with an overview of RIT and all the academic opportunities that are available for you. RIT's main campus in Rochester, New York is home to more than 16,000 students, including approximately 13,700 undergraduates. If you include our international campuses in Croatia, Dubai, Kosovo, and China, RIT's total student enrollment is over 19,000, which makes us one of the largest private universities in the country. Students come from all 50 states and more than 90 countries. We have more than 2,600 international students and about 2,000 students who identify as African American, Latin American, and Native American. RIT is also home to a very unique culture, the National Technical Institute for the Deaf, or NTID, and that includes more than 1,000 students on campus who are deaf or hard of hearing. So you'll frequently see people on campus using American Sign Language, and also interpreters and closed captioning are used in our classes and at all of our events. So even though RIT is a large school, the average class size is just about 22 students, and the student to faculty ratio is 13:1. It's important to note that all RIT classes are faculty taught. Graduate and teaching assistants are allowed to assist the professors, but they will not be facilitating classes or teaching new material. RIT is home to 9 academic colleges, including NTID, and we offer close to 90 different majors. We have programs in everything from engineering, science, computing, game design, health sciences, and engineering technology, and also art, design, film and animation, photography, liberal arts, and business. This variety of STEM and non-STEM programs allows RIT students to create some interesting combinations of majors and minors, double majors, or even design their own unique program through our School of Individualized Study. For students who decide that getting a master's degree is in their best interest, we offer more than 40 accelerated dual degree programs. For example, the 4+1 MBA that's available through our Saunders College of Business. I'd like to now move into discussing opportunities for experiential learning, which is an important part of RIT's educational style. If you haven't heard the term experiential learning before, it can take many forms such as undergraduate research, entrepreneurship, study abroad, senior year capstone projects, community service, clinical experiences, lab or studio-based projects, and internships. So at RIT, we will offer all of these options. However, we are best known for our cooperative education program, or co-op for short. So if you haven't heard of the term co-op before, think of it like a form of internship. So while internships can be full-time or part-time, they can be paid or unpaid, co-ops are always going to be full-time, paid professional work experiences. RIT has one of the oldest and largest co-op programs in the world, with over 3,400 employment partners in all 50 states and 30 different countries. Students do not necessarily stay in Rochester while they're on their co-ops. Although there are many Rochester-based employers, students can co-op in other cities across the nation or abroad, or even back in their hometowns. Most co-ops last 3 to 4 months, which is either a summer or a semester. Something important I'd like to point out about co-op is that you will not be charged tuition by RIT during your co-op experiences. In fact, you'll be paid by your employer and the money is yours to keep. So whether that's to pay for housing while you're on co-op or to save for next year's tuition, that money will be yours. Our Career Services and Cooperative Education Office hosts several career fairs throughout the academic year. We have 2 large fairs every fall in the spring, and these events typically bring over 800 recruiters from close to 300 companies to campus. We will also have several smaller fairs throughout the year that target specific academic areas, such as Creative Industry Day for our College of Art and Design students, and even a fair specifically for our packaging science students. The Career Services and Co-op Office frequently hosts our partner companies, and the recruiters will conduct in-person interviews with our students right on campus. So co-op requirements at RIT will vary by major. Some majors require several co-ops that will total about a year. Those programs, which are mostly in engineering, engineering technology, and computer science, are therefore going to be 5-year programs at RIT. However, it's important to remember that families will still only pay for 4 years of tuition, and this will be spread out over the 5 years. Other majors will only require 3 to 9 months of co-op, which are mostly completed during the summer times. For a small number of our programs, co-ops are optional, regardless of whether your program requires co-op or not. The career services counselors are there to help each student with their job search, with resume writing, interview skills, and more. The sample schedules on this slide will show a typical co-op sequence for both 4 and 5-year programs. As you can see, co-ops are spread out so that students will alternate periods of time learning on campus and then apply what they've learned in a professional work setting. So in other words, the classroom learning and the co-ops will then build upon each other. There are many other benefits of co-op. First, co-op lets you apply what you've learned in class while it's still fresh in your mind. Second, co-ops can help you confirm that you have chosen the right field of study. You may learn through your work experiences that you want to change your focus or even your major, and it's better to realize that while you're still a college student instead of after you graduate. You also have the opportunity to network with professionals in your field, and as you might expect, it's common for RIT students to get job offers from their co-op employers. You're also getting paid and you're not paying tuition. So you're getting some return on your investment while you're still a student. Finally, you're adding to your professional resume while you're still a student, which makes a big difference when it's ultimately time to start your career. So as you'd probably expect, the experience you get as an RIT student will pay off. We survey our seniors each year about their employment status within 6 months of graduating. For our class of 2019, our outcome rate was 93.8%. The outcome rate includes those who are employed, 73.8%, those who are pursuing graduate study, 18.8%, and those who have alternative plans, such as the Peace Corps, Teach America, or the military, 1.2%. So here you can see a small sample of our major employer partners. You can view detailed career outcome related information by academic program online at joboutlook.rit.edu. Even though we take pride in our co-op program, RIT also offers plenty of other forms of experiential learning. One type is undergraduate research, which is not just limited to our science students. There are research opportunities for undergraduates in each of RIT's colleges in areas such as photonics, cybersecurity, and many others. An abroad experience can be a life-changing form of experiential learning. You could spend a summer or a semester at one of our overseas campuses in Croatia, Dubai, Kosovo, or China. You could meet a co-op requirement by working for a company abroad. You could take a faculty-led trip with other students for class credit, or you could choose a study abroad program at a partner university in one of 55 countries. One of the most unique parts of RIT is the extensive student involvement in innovation and entrepreneurship. With the guidance of professional mentors and access to facilities like our student incubator, the Simone Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship, and the Construct, which is our all-access makerspace, RIT students will have the support they need to bring their dreams and ideas to fruition. Our newest building on campus is Magic Spell Studios. Magic, which stands for Media, Arts, Games, Interaction, and Creativity, opened its doors back in 2018. It's a hub for digital media students, particularly in our schools of design, film and animation, and interactive games and media. The building features a 7,000 square foot sound stage, virtual reality labs, stop motion animation facilities, as well as a professional sound mixing and color correction studios. Austin McCord, an RIT alumnus and the founder of Datto, a computing security company, decided he wanted to give back to his alma mater. After selling his company, he then presented RIT with a check for $50 million. Thanks to Austin's generosity, this summer we will open our new Global Cybersecurity Institute. And in RIT's spirit of innovation and creativity, we will soon break ground on our innovative Maker and Learner Complex, or IMLC. So far, we've talked a lot about academics and experiential education. So now we'll start talking about what you can expect at RIT outside the classroom. There's plenty to do on our campus with more than 300 active clubs, ranging from academic to religious to environmental and multicultural to artistic and athletic. And we also host more than 1,300 student-run events each year. Students can also join Greek Life with 29 participating organizations. About 10% of RIT students are involved in Greek Life. We are the RIT Tigers, and our mascot is Richie the Bengal Tiger. If you are interested in participating in a varsity sport, RIT has 24 intercollegiate teams for men and women, including Division I men's and women's ice hockey. We also have one of the top Division III lacrosse programs in the country. If you'd like to participate in sports, but not necessarily at the varsity level, we have a long list that you'll see here of club, intramural, and recreational sports, including dodgeball, Quidditch, and Humans versus Zombies, which is a campus-wide game of Nerf gun tag. We even have our own rock climbing gym on campus called the Red Barn. RIT also has an active esports population, and students have won several national championships. One of RIT's goals is to develop one of the leading performing arts programs in the nation for non-majors. More than 1,000 RIT students participate in performing arts on campus each year, from theater and improv to dance and music ensembles. We offer academic minors in music and theater. We have new performance spaces planned for theater and dance, and we also now offer scholarships to incoming students for their performing arts achievements. RIT has a residential campus offering a mix of residence halls, suites, and apartments. Freshmen from outside the Rochester area are required to live on campus for the first year. Students can apply for special interest housing, including Photo House, Computer Science House, and even HOGS, which stands for the House of General Sciences. There are also academic and lifestyle floors, for example, honors housing and gender inclusive housing. RIT Dining will offer a range of dining options across campus, including Gracie's, which is our main dining hall, the Global Grill and Market, several different coffee shops, Salsaritas, our Mexican-style restaurant, and even a full-service student-run restaurant called Henry's. We are also home to the only Ben & Jerry's within the Rochester area. There are plenty of other resources for students on campus, such as a post office, fitness centers, computing labs, free laundry facilities, and student services such as the health center, counseling, and disability services. The RIT campus is located in the suburb of Henrietta, which is 6 miles south of downtown Rochester, the third largest city in New York State. Some major companies have called Rochester home over the years, including Eastman Kodak, Wegmans Supermarkets, Paychex, Xerox, and Bausch & Lomb. Music lovers will appreciate Rochester for its International Jazz Festival, the Rochester Philharmonic Orchestra, and numerous concerts at local venues. Those interested in theater can enjoy productions of the Rochester Broadway Theater League and G the Theater. Festivals are also extremely popular in Rochester, including the Lilac Festival, the Fringe Festival, and the Cornhill Summer Arts Festival. Other popular local attractions include Lake Ontario and the Finger Lakes, ski resorts, minor league sporting events, the Susan B. Anthony House, the George Eastman House, and Letchworth Park. Also, we are only 90 minutes from Niagara Falls. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mark, who is going to talk about the admissions process.
Thanks, Mariah. Now we're going to talk about admission opportunities and aid opportunities at RIT. Applicants to RIT can choose one of three paths. Most students apply to a specific major, and if admitted, start in their major from day one. If they end up deciding they want to switch their major later, they make that request through the academic department that they wish to switch into. These requests are honored based on their academic performance and space availability in the requested program. Students who are undecided about a specific major but think they know which academic area they prefer may apply to one of our college-based exploration programs. These are one-year programs that are designed to allow exploration within a cognate area before declaring a major without losing any progress towards on-time graduation. A third option is to apply to the University Exploration Program. This program is designed for students that have multiple academic areas of interest across the university. Students begin working with an academic advisor to craft a fall semester schedule that allows them to explore potential areas of academic interest. Most students will declare a major after their first or second semester. Although we cannot guarantee no delay in graduation for this program, depending on what major is ultimately selected, this program has a high success rate of on-time graduation. At RIT, we have different admission criteria based upon the student's intended major, a practice we call differential admission. We practice differential admissions for two reasons. First, given the diversity of our academic programs, it makes sense to evaluate candidates by major or exploration option. For example, what we're looking for from a software engineering candidate is very different than what we're looking for from a studio arts painting candidate. The second reason is that we want to ensure a high quality experience in your major. We want your class sizes to not be too large, ensure you have opportunities to have relationships with your professors, access to equipment, labs, and facilities, and that you are not competing against too many other students for co-ops, internships, research experiences, and full-time job opportunities. For that reason, we encourage you to list your top 3 programs on your application if you have more than one genuine interest. If we can't admit you into your first choice program, we may be able to offer you admission into one of your other choices. The numbers on the right represent the middle 50% ranges of GPAs on a 100-point scale, SAT scores, and ACT scores for students who were admitted to RIT last year. However, these ranges can vary significantly by college and major. If we have more qualified candidates for a specific major than spots in the program, we will start a waiting list by major. Biomedical engineering, mechanical engineering, computer science, computing security, game design and development, the physician assistant BSMS program, and film and animation are examples of programs that typically have a waiting list. When we review applications as an admissions committee, we use a holistic process that includes several factors. Regardless of the major you apply to, the most important factor that is considered is your academic record. Your academic record is made up of several components: your GPA, your class rank if your school ranks, academic trends if present, meeting course prerequisites for the major that you're applying to, and how you've challenged yourself, taking into consideration your academic interests and the level of rigor offered at your school. For example, honors, AP, advanced placement, international baccalaureate, or college courses or dual enrollment. We will give more emphasis in our review to courses that are related to your academic area of interest. RIT has adopted an SAT/ACT optional policy for 2021 applicants and beyond for admission and scholarship consideration. For students who submit SAT or ACT results, we will consider them as part of the review process should you choose that on the application, and we will superscore the SAT and ACT if you have taken them multiple times. If you have taken the SAT and the ACT, we will use whichever test score best advantages your application. If you do not submit an SAT or ACT result, you will receive full admission and scholarship consideration for all programs and will not be disadvantaged in any way. We do require at least one recommendation letter from your school counselor. You're welcome to submit additional letters from teachers, an employer, or coach. All of them will be considered in the review process, and most candidates submit 1 to 3 letters of recommendation. While academics are important, we also consider the extracurricular activities you are involved in, both in and outside of school. Please share with us information about your involvement in community service activities, performing arts, athletics, honors you have received, leadership positions you have held, or if you've started your own business. We will also take into consideration if you aren't as involved in extracurricular activities because you have to work or have family responsibilities, or if your activities have been interrupted by the pandemic in any way. But please share information about the experiences you've had so we can take those into consideration. Like many universities, RIT requires an essay as part of the admission review process. The essay is your opportunity to go beyond the quantitative aspects of your candidacy and share with us your personal story. For students applying to programs in our schools of art, design, or film and animation, a portfolio is also required and is a significant admission factor. A slide room submission is the most popular option for sending us your portfolio, and our portfolio guidelines can be found on our website. One thing we don't require is an admission interview. We do offer them virtually nowadays, but if the pandemic ends in time for you, they'll be offered on campus as well, but virtually is a fine option. They're meant to be informational in nature, not evaluative, so be prepared to speak about yourself, your interests, and have questions prepared in advance. When applying to RIT, you can choose either Early Decision 1, Early Decision 2, or Regular Decision. Both early decision plans are appropriate if you identify RIT as your first choice university. The benefits of early decision are that you receive your admission decision and financial aid and scholarship notification sooner. There is a higher acceptance rate through early decision, and you can select your residence hall, building, and room before the regular decision students. Even though early decision is binding, you can be released from the binding nature of early decision if you're admitted to your second or third choice program, or if you determine that our financial aid and scholarship offer is not affordable. About a third of our entering first year class apply via early decision. If RIT is your top choice, I do highly recommend applying that way, especially if you're considering one of our more competitive majors. The chart shows the preferred application deadline for all 3 options, as well as when students will receive their decision and when their acceptance of admission deposit is due. To make your RIT education affordable, we offer both need-based and merit-based scholarships. Last year, RIT awarded over $300 million in financial assistance. For need-based financial aid consideration, you must submit the free application for federal student aid, better known as the FAFSA. For families that qualify, a typical financial aid package includes a combination of grants, loans, and work study. Students can work up to 20 hours per week on campus, and there are plenty of positions available for those that are interested. In addition, we consider all admitted students for RIT's various merit-based scholarships, including presidential scholarships, founders scholarships, recognition, and Tiger Pride scholarships. Students can also be considered for specialized scholarships such as First Robotics, Project Lead the Way, Performing Arts, ROTC, and National Co-op scholarships. Affordability is important to us, and we want you to let us know if you have any affordability concerns after you review your award. Before we invite our current students to introduce themselves, we'd like to provide some future opportunities to connect with us. Please feel free to contact us and visit our admission homepage for helpful information and upcoming events. Now we'd like to welcome our students, Colette and Dylan. Colette, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name's Colette. I am a 4th-year biomedical engineering major. I'm from Syracuse, New York, and I'm also a member of our women's lacrosse team here on campus.
All right, hi, my name is Dylan. I am a fifth-year software engineering student, and I am involved in both our Society of Software Engineers as well as being a TA for the software engineering department.
Great, thank you so much, Colette and Dylan, for introducing yourselves. We're gonna go ahead and kick off the Q&A with some questions. I'm actually gonna stop sharing my screen so that we can see everybody as they're answering questions here. So first, we'll have Colette start and then have Dylan go second through all the questions that I'll ask. But first, could you each please tell us a little bit about your college search process and why you ultimately chose to come to RIT? Colette?
Yeah, so I knew right away that I was really interested in biomedical engineering. So I was initially looking at schools that were offering that. I come from a really small high school, so I was looking at smaller schools. So RIT wasn't on my radar at first. And then I'm from close by, it's about an hour and a half away. And I really liked the Rochester area. So that's what got me interested in RIT to begin with. And then after visiting and meeting with some of the students and faculty on campus, I just really liked the atmosphere at RIT, and we are a bit of a larger school. However, there's still a really small college feel here. So within my department, I know my professors well, all my peers I know very well. So that was really huge for me. And it's a very collaborative environment. We don't feel like we're competing against our peers. It's really, we're all in it together, which I really love. And then ultimately I ended up choosing RIT largely because of the co-op program, and then also that small college feel that I kind of mentioned. And then I also really liked that I'd be able to pursue all my interests here. So we are very academically focused, but I really have felt like we have the opportunity to pursue anything that you're interested in. So it's really common to get involved in different clubs or organizations on campus. We have over 300 to choose from. So a lot of people get involved in that, and that was a huge aspect for me as well.
Great, thanks so much, Colette. Dylan, could you talk about your college search process and then why you chose RIT?
Yeah, so actually from about the time that I was in middle school, I was dead set on going to my home university, University of Buffalo, which is where I come from. So I was dead set going there, going to do some sort of engineering with all my friends. And then it wasn't until my senior year, as I was getting ready to commit to a school, that I decided to visit RIT. It was a bit of a tip off to my mom, and she convinced me to visit here. Coming here, I realized that RIT really was the place for me right away. First off, they had my program. I wasn't able to find something like software engineering pretty much anywhere else, where it wasn't just about programming. It was actually programming with a purpose in the end of making a product. And also just the people here. I really loved meeting all the people that were here. There was really kind of so many different kinds of people that made me really feel like I was included here. And like Colette said, it is still somewhat a big school, but compared to University of Buffalo, I would have felt more like a number there, whereas here I feel like my own individual person. I see a lot of the same people as I'm walking, across school. It feels very homey here, and that's really what I was looking for in a university. And obviously having my major and having the co-op program is a big bonus on top of that.
Thanks, Dylan. We welcome students. If you'd like to submit your questions, please feel free to type them in the Q&A box, whether that's for Mark and myself or for Dylan or Colette to answer. We'll try to get to as many questions as we possibly can in our time together. Another question I'm going to ask each of the students, could you talk a little bit about being a STEM student at RIT? What's your favorite part of that? We'll start with Colette.
Yeah, so probably my favorite part about that is kind of the approach we take to learning. I'm a really hands-on learner, so I like all the labs and stuff that we've been able to take. And then also the co-op program has been incredibly beneficial for me. Within biomedical engineering, there's a few different paths you can take once you're in the industry. And so that was a really great opportunity for me to kind of explore some of those different avenues. So I worked at a pharmaceutical company and I absolutely loved it. So it was really nice to actually have that experience and be able to kind of say, okay, this is what I want to go with for my future, and this is what I want to continue down this path. So that was huge. And again, it was really nice to be able to apply what you're learning in the classroom directly to an actual real world application. So that was awesome as well.
Thank you. Dylan, what do you like best about being a student in the STEM disciplines?
Yeah, so my answer pretty much mirrors Colette. It's a lot of lab spaces we have. It's a lot of technology we have available to us in touring, obviously University of Buffalo, but even a few others that I was looking at. they just weren't up to date with like with how far ahead RIT is. So having all of this technology available to myself, being able to use it and stuff like that really enticed me. And also, yeah, the co-op program. I mean, like Colette said, with her field, she has a few paths. Same thing for software engineering. Being able to figure out what I want to do before I actually graduate here, kind of getting a feel for, what do I enjoy, what do I don't, do I enjoy working for a large company, a small company, anywhere in between, things like that. There are a lot of answers that I can, figure out while I'm still a student, instead of finishing on my degree and then moving on and being like, well, I got my degree, I've been in the field for 2 years, but maybe I don't enjoy what I do. So that was another thing, was that it's very much, it helps reassure me that I actually am pursuing what I want to do.
Great, thank you. Co-op is something, of course, that's come up quite a bit, given that, Colette, of course, you're a biomedical engineer, Dylan being a software engineer. It's required for both of your programs, and both of your programs are 5 years in length of time. So could you talk a little bit about the co-op process and maybe your relationship with the co-op advisor, just a little bit about how that process went?
Yeah, so all of our programs have like a co-op advisor associated with them. So we had one co-op advisor that was dedicated solely to our program. So she would work with us directly, and she would come in and speak in some of our classes. We did a co-op prep course. So what that did is she kind of introduced us to creating our resumes, doing like interview tips, and then she would also send out like mock interview opportunities, like resume reviews, and then she'll also consistently send out different job postings. So I hear from her still like quite frequently, which is really nice. And like they don't find the co-ops for you, but they help give you the tools to find it yourself, which is really helpful. And then as far as like how I found my co-op, RIT has like our own kind of career center called Career Connect. Companies can post like different job postings through that as well. And then like a lot of us will use like LinkedIn or something like that to kind of help connect you with different employers. And then we also did the career fair, which is where like my employer actually had a booth there. They have like 250 companies come, and a lot of students get co-ops from that, because you get a lot of like face-to-face time with potential employers there as well. So yeah.
Thanks. Dylan, could you talk about your co-op experience in the process?
Yeah, so with, first off, with my co-op advisor, mine actually changed from when I got my first co-op to when I got my second. So it was kind of, meeting someone new all over again. But overall, both my advisors were great. They were actually really helpful, especially for my first one, as obviously for anyone's first co-op, it's kind of nerve-wracking, getting a job for the first time, having to go through the whole process, applying to a bunch of different companies. For my first co-op, I think ended up sending out 30 resumes, and I got about 4 callbacks. So it can be a bit nerve-wracking, but they definitely help alleviate that stress, especially because you can go get help, get your resume fixed, have, like I was mentioning, workshops, things like that. Being able to, have like mock interviews and things like that made it a lot less stressful. As far as my experience with co-op, I had a very polarizing time with my co-ops. I had a co-op that was really good and also one that was really bad. And it's kind of funny that I say that because it was with the same company, just with different teams. But overall, the co-op experience has been great. I really enjoyed doing it. And actually the company that I just finished up for, because that's where my last semester was spent, was co-oping. It's probably going to be the company that I at least start off with when I graduate from here. So overall, the co-op experience has been great, and I've really enjoyed. The resources we have here have been really helpful with helping me land this job.
Kind of goes back to that trial and error thing we were talking about, Dylan, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Better figuring out what I do and don't like.
Yeah, better to know now that you didn't like that type of work, and you could fix it up, and it worked out for your second one. So that's great. Lots of questions coming in from students, so I'm just going to go through the Q&A here. As a STEM student, how intense is your workload, and how easy is it to get extra help from professors? Colette, could you answer that?
Yeah, so professors are extremely accessible. All of them will have office hours throughout the week, and then we have like TAs that help out as well, and they'll have additional office hours as well. So if you did ever have any classes that you needed extra help with, and you wanted to ask specifically that professor or TA, they're very available. Even you can just like shoot them an email, and they'll meet up with you on times outside their office hours as well. So I've definitely never had an issue like being able to contact a professor or get extra help when I needed it. And then we also have some additional like study resources. So like we have different study and tutoring centers. So like through the College of Science, one class that I had a hard time with was one of our physics classes, and they would have like professors and student tutors there throughout the day as well that you can go to and ask, even if they're not your specific professor. So I found that those tools were really helpful, and it like certain classes can be difficult. Like for me, like I said, the physics class was one of my more difficult ones, but there's so many resources like those that I mentioned that are available to help you out with, and they're all very willing to help you as well. So it definitely is manageable.
Thanks, Colette. Dylan, how about your workload? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so one thing that's kind of different in my major is that we don't necessarily have a lot of like daily homework or like even weekly homework. A lot of my work comes down to semesterly or like, bi-semesterly projects. So a lot of our workload isn't necessarily up front. It's kind of spaced out over time. So as long as you have good time management, the workload really isn't that noticeable. Obviously, with general education classes, that's when it does get a bit more difficult to manage because now you've got to think in the short term and long term. But the work, I wouldn't say the workload is that intense as long as you have good time management with it. And what's nice is, especially for like life skills, we have places on campus where they can help you with that as well. One of them being our Academic Success Center. So like they can help you if you're having problems with life skills like time management or just in like life skills in general, they can definitely help you out with that. And as far as getting help with professors, it's overall been really easy. Yeah. All my professors have open office hours where if you can't schedule for some reason, you can always visit them then. Or like a lot of my professors that I've had to get help with, they've been very open with even outside of their normal hours that they are like actually at RIT, they're still able to come in and meet with me. Especially some of my professors, they've made jokes that they practically live there. So it has been a bit easier to find meetings with them. But overall, all my professors have pretty much always been available when I needed help.
Thanks, Dylan. A few more questions coming in. What is something that you feel is unique about studying STEM at RIT? Colette.
I know we've said it many times, but I think the co-op and experiential learning is huge. That was really what set RIT apart from the other schools that I was looking at. And yeah, just we have a very like hands-on approach to learning, which I really like. You're not going to be just learning everything in the classroom on paper. There's a lot of opportunities to do different labs that are built into your curriculum. And then, yeah, and I also like how we have something called like an immersion program, which is where you would take like a concentration of 3 classes outside your major. I really like that because you're focused on your main discipline, but you can also have the opportunity to kind of explore some other avenues and broaden your horizons a little bit. So I really liked that as well, as we are getting that really concentrated core like STEM curriculum, and as well as some additional like interests you can build into your academics as well.
Thank you. Dylan, anything to add to that? What's unique about studying STEM at RIT?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of extend off of the first part of Colette's answer with the experiential learning with our co-op program, I've really found that there's a lot to learn in the field that a classroom just can never teach you. And that's kind of been the big thing for me because, again, going back to trial and error, but being able to speak with people who have 30 plus years of experience on me, it's so much different than hearing it from other college students. Being able to work with people who know what I'm going through, who know, how to, like where I am at in my life and stuff like that. Having that it's been very helpful and eye-opening for me, and like figuring out what I want to do. So having that ability to have real world experiences, and especially just having experiences that you can't just be taught from a professor.
Thank you. A couple questions coming in about the feel of the campus and the student body. So for Colette first, how would you describe the student body at RIT, and do you feel at home on campus?
Yeah, so I would say generally I would describe students as being really well-rounded. So we all do have these some rigorous academics, but everybody is still involved in other things. Like all my friends in my major are also like, we are a pretty rigorous program, and everyone is still involved in like other organizations, whether that's athletics or just some of our other clubs and like more like professional organizations, stuff like that on campus or on campus jobs. It's all extremely doable and it's very encouraged at RIT. So like that was one of my big concerns coming in, was would I be able to play a varsity sport as well as be able to handle like a heavy academic load. And it's extremely doable and definitely encouraged for students to have that like well-roundedness. So I would describe students as being well-rounded. And then as far as like campus feel as a whole, I think it's extremely welcoming to everybody. That was something that I found like again really stood out about RIT in comparison to some of the other schools I looked at, is just like there really is something here for everybody, and everyone is kind of like very supportive of everybody's interests. Like I wouldn't consider us to be like cliquey or anything like that. Like it's all just a very like inclusive and welcoming environment. So yeah, extremely at home. I love RIT, definitely. Yeah.
Thanks, Colette. Good enthusiasm. Dylan, you actually described RIT as homey. Do you want to elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so first off, if I had to give RIT any one word to describe the student body, it would definitely be diverse. There's so many different people from so many different walks of life, all with different interests and everything, but it works in the end. You know, as I always like to tell people who ever come to RIT or want to hear about it, is there is at least one person here that is the perfect match for you for finding friends here. Like there is always someone you can meet that can, you know, be your next best friend. And I really do feel like it's homey here because everyone here is supportive of each other. Everyone here is collaborative. Like we all do want to see each other succeed. We all do want to help each other out. You know, we got so many fun events on campus to kind of bring people together. Heck, even freshman orientation, we have, you know, 5 days of people getting to know each other. Obviously all of us are coming in from, you know, being in high school, being most of us living with parents or guardians, coming in, and, you know, we're on our own for the first time, but RIT really does a good job of making you feel welcome here immediately, getting to know people, getting to make friends early. But like I said, we have a lot of fun events. Like we have Freeze Fest and Spring Fest, where it's just, you know, a weekend long event. You can do so many fun different things. Obviously we have all of our sports. We have hockey, obviously big hockey schools. Like we have fun with that. There's so many ways to just come out and have fun and just join people, meet people. Like I said, meet people from all walks of life and just have fun. And that's to me why it feels like home, because there's so many people to meet and so many things to do, and you just feel like you belong. Like I feel like I belong here. That's why I feel like this place is homey to me.
Great, thank you. One question coming in, are freshmen allowed to have cars? Could you talk a little bit about how you get around campus? Colette, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so starting in your first year, you are allowed to have a car. It's like only $50 for a parking permit per semester, which is really affordable. But there are a lot of like options if you don't have your car on campus. So I didn't have my car on campus my freshman year, and then for half of my sophomore year, I actually lived in an off-campus apartment my sophomore year, and it wasn't an issue because the off-campus apartments, many of them will have shuttles that will come to campus. So it's really easy if you were to move off campus to still have access really easily to campus. And then we also have like a bus system through RIT, and those will take you like all around to like Target, Wegmans, the mall, as well as like our bookstore and some of the other apartment complexes as well. So yeah, like you can have your car on campus. That's how I get around now. But before then, it was never an issue to not have your car, and you have access to pretty much anything you would need without one.
Thank you. I think that's a pretty good sum up. So Dylan, I won't have you elaborate on that. In the interest of saving time, I'm going to ask one final question of our students today. What's your favorite thing about RIT? We'll start with Colette and then we'll end up with Dylan.
I would say the people, like that was just like the environment here is just unlike anywhere else. It really is like there's something here for everybody. And I have found like so many different friends that I probably never would have met if I had gone to a different school, just because like you do get exposed to so many other people, whether that's like in residence halls when you're living there your first year, whether it's through your major or through athletics or other organizations you're involved in. Like you're gonna find your people here, which that's what I have found I like the best, I guess.
All right. And last but not least, Dylan, what's your favorite thing about RIT?
Well, it was actually the same answer as Colette, but to give another answer, food is a big one for me. I love food. A lot of the food here on campus is like you can pretty much find whatever kind of food you want here on campus. I mean, even if you have dietary restrictions, they very much are. They very much do have options for you. There's just so much good food here. Like, I'm very sad that I live off campus because that gives me less time to try out food there. But it's good. It's very good. And plus we even have like an all-you-can-eat buffet. So like if I find something there I really like, I can enjoy it till my heart's content. Yeah. Like I said, people first, but obviously that was Colette's answer. So for me, second place had to be food.
Food is very important, especially to college students. All right. Well, thank you so much to our attendees for joining us today. We also want to thank StriveScan, our closed captionists, and then of course our current students, Colette and Dylan, for their insights. We really hope this session was informative. We encourage you to contact us with any questions, and we look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Thank you so much to the RIT team for being here and sharing their valuable time with us and all this valuable knowledge. As you exit the Zoom webinar, you will be taken to a quick survey. It's only 4 questions, so we'd love to hear your feedback regarding this particular session. And as I mentioned in the beginning, we do have more sessions through tomorrow evening with Cachet, and all of our recordings will be posted on our website very shortly. So I hope everyone has a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and thanks once again to RIT. Have a great one.